Hey planners, if you are a seasoned new DIY or even a business organization that plans events, this video is for you. So have you ever been planning an event and it felt extremely overwhelming or chaotic? Well, the good news is you're not alone, and the not so good news is that chances are you're skipping out on some key steps in the event planning process. And yes, there are systems that back up every stress-free and smooth event, and I'm going to walk you guys through them today, right? So just to be clear, when you're planning an event, you are likely going to face frustration or things like that, and that may feel normal sometimes, right? But the truth is, when you have a solid plan in place and when you truly are trusting that God is going to work this thing out for you, then you and your team, you're going to be able to pivot when needed. You're going to be able to get back on track, and you're going to just be able to continue to plan a seamless and effortless event, right? And so just a few things about me. My name is Alexandria. I'm an event operations manager, and I am the founder of Lovely Affairs, where we plan and help planners, should I say, execute with structure, with organization, and with clarity so that they can plan their events confidently, right? And so I've been in the event planning industry for over 10 years, and I truly have been able to see kind of what works and what doesn't work. And that's why through that, right, trial and error and learning through the process, I've been able to develop my version of the event planning life cycle. And with that, there are 7 essential phases that I'm going to share with you all today that is going to bring some organization, some clarity, and hopefully some confidence in your planning process. And so I'm already sharing the screen with you. I like to teach, and so I have some presentation notes, so I may be looking back and forth at my notes just to make sure that I get everything out and I don't miss any important points. So I'm just first going to start with listing out these 7 phases, and then I'm going to briefly get into each one and break them down. But for extreme details, just stick around for future videos. Okay, so for the first one, we have concept and development brainstorming. That's phase number 1, right? Then you have the second one, which is organization and detail planning. Then we have 3, which is coordination and vendor outreach. And then 4, marketing and event promotion, right? 5 is going to be final checks plus pre-event confirmation. Number 6, we have date of flow management. And then, of course, 7, post-event recap. Sometimes this gets overlooked and people don't often do it. But let's just hop into concept development and brainstorming, right? So at this point, you've already met with the client, right? The client has shared their vision with you. They shared their deliverables, their wants, their needs, and they give you an overall, a full picture of the event that they want. You've asked the questions that are important, and you develop a sense of what they want. So now at phase 1, the concept development, you are literally developing the concept of the vision for the client, right? You're teasing out, you're brainstorming, you're using your expertise as an event planner to take their vision, their ideas to the next level, right? At this point, you're teasing out, you're establishing the theme, the mode, right? With mood boards and just like general experience for this event. You're mapping out that experience for the guests, what that feels like. You're developing a sense of the budget. Some of your clients may already have a budget for you. Some of you may not be working with a budget, but you still want to be able to start to tease out, okay, what's the needs, what's the wants, what's required kind of for the decorations, and you'll be able to develop somewhat of a budget, right? This is like the rough outline of the guest count, the venue style, the food seating, and just the stations of the event and how it's going to flow. I like to call it turning the vision into creative direction, right? So the vision that the client has given you, now let's get creative with that. Let's outline things, right? Then from there, we are going on to phase 2, right? So with phase 2, this is organization and detail planning. This is where you have the framework. This is where you're really building out the full structure of the event, right? You're building out the timelines. You're building out the due dates for specific tasks. You're building out the checklist, right, for yourself and for your team. You're ironing out the true logistics. At this point, right, you're taking it from the idea of storytelling, creating the vibe. Now it's like, okay, let's get it done. Who's doing what? when does it need to be get done, and how does it need to get done, right? So you're ironing these things out. At this phase, I also like to create something called the master list, right? With the master list and designing the needed documents, you're able to outline, okay, we need, what do we need for this event to flow? We need staff, we need vendors, we need volunteers, right? We need, what do we need for this event? What are all the moving parts as far as the positions and the roles? And what are the intricate, smaller details, right? We're going to likely need, make sure you're including on this list, we're going to need outreach letters. We're going to need, what type of media are we doing, right? Are we doing press releases? Are we doing media alerts? So now at this point, you're pretty much listing them out. At first, you want to outline the itinerary. We need that. We need a program. Are we using a program are we having speakers for this event? So at this point, you're really listing them out. And then you're figuring out, like I said, who's involved, from the volunteers to the vendors to speakers, entertainers. Create that master list. Make it organized, make it plain, right? Then from there, you're outlining the decor and design specs, right? What stations are going to be included at this event? Station number 1 may be the entryway, right? This is where guests are coming in. That's station 1, perhaps. What are all the supplies and materials that we need for station 1? Once I started breaking down events in stations, it really took my event and organization to the next level, because I was literally able to outline each station and then create checklists for what this station needs, right? And even sometimes you want to name that station, right? And then it provides you with, like I said, a breakdown of what each station requires in order for it to come to life, right? And this is materials, equipment. This is transforming ideas into logistics. Like I said, what needs to get done, by who, and by when does these things need to get done, okay? Then we have phase number 3. Phase number 3 is coordination and vendor outreach, right? So at this point, you have everything outlined. You have the list of what you need. You have the list of the roles and the responsibilities, right? Now for the vendor and coordination, you want to start designing and typing up those outreach letters, right? For the volunteers, for the vendors, for the speakers, for the entertainers, right? You want to start coordinating with them, communicating with them, letting them know about the event, right? Informing them of what's going on and sending details. In the coordination part, also, you begin to confirm, like I said, details. You want to make sure that all the partners, all moving aspects of this event are starting to align and starting to get the vision of your event, right? When it comes to communication, you want to keep communication. You want to have a clear, central system of how you communicate, whether that's via email, HubSpot, Mondays, Notion, whatever. You want to make sure that you have an internal, clear, central communication, right? With your team, with your staff, with your vendors, but then also with your clients, right? As well. How are you communicating with them? What is your method? Everything needs to have a system, or else it's going to feel busy, it's going to feel chaotic, and it's going to feel extremely overwhelming, okay? And then at this point, coordination, figuring out, you might be doing your first walkthroughs, right? At this point of the venue, of the space, what it looks like, right? You might be also doing taste testing of the food, depending on the event if you're having. At this point, you may be securing deposits, whether you're paying someone or you're getting grants and funding, someone supplying you with funding, right? Or you're just pretty much securing bookings, securing entertainment, securing the speakers, securing the panelists, whatever at that point, right? And I like to call this phase collecting confirmations, source, secure, and negotiate. All right. Then we are moving on to phase 4, marketing and event promotion, right? Likely you have a marketing team, you may or may not, right? But oftentimes a lot of these phases may overlap or be working simultaneously at the same time. So it's not like, oh, this, then this, and this, but it gives you a structural, like a flow of, right, of what steps to take. But okay, so for phase 4 marketing, at this point, you're designing the promotion, right? The promotional verbiage. You're designing the campaign rollout, right? You're working with Okay, what type of verbiage do I want to have for the social media posts? For the captions, what do I want to have as far as what is it saying on the landing page for the ticketing? Maybe you're using Eventbrite and you want to outline the verbiage for that, right? Or for the website, maybe you're doing it directly from there. When people go to your website, what do they see and know about this event on the event calendar, right? Also in the marketing at phase 2, right, when you outline the organization, when you figured out who's doing what and what positions need to be filled, at this point, right, marketing, you figured out, okay, we are going to be using video and photo shoot for promoting this event, right? So at this point, you may start to do the filming, start to do the photo shoots. So that way you can use these as marketing strategies, right? You can use these. And also when it comes to verbiage, what verbiage are you using for the videos that you post, right? For the photos that you post. You want to start outlining all those detailed things. Then we go on to graphics. Graphics include flyers, invitations, programs, menus, any promotional communication methods, right? Then we are in the marketing phase. We're also marketing the actual event, right? So we're building up the excitement. This is the pre-event engagement with the attendees, with, people, whether it's a public event or a private event, right? You might start sending out invitations. You might start, if it's a book tour event or a book signing event, you might start doing little appearances, maybe at coffee shops. Start getting your name out there. Start letting them know about this upcoming event. You're communicating and sharing this event, right? Maybe you're going live on social media, right? Maybe people are supporting you by reposting it, or you're collaborating with influencers to get the marketing and get people excited about this upcoming event, okay? So I like to call it marketing strategies plus marketing the event, making the event public and making it known. Make the event known at this phase. Then we're going into phase 5. Phase 5 is the final checklist and pre-event confirmation, right? This is important. Final walkthroughs, right? You're reconfirming all the logistics with your team. At this point, you've already had team meetings leading up to the event. Now we're having final meetings. We are having final vendor reconfirmation, right? Confirming with all the vendors, making sure that everyone's on the same page. They know when to arrive. They know drop-off location. They know parking. They know all these details. And I also like to do, right, I like to have a backup plan, right? Whether it comes to the floor plan, the timelines, just to be able to pivot, right? Let's just say if there's a speaker and they're not able to come, what are your options? What's plan B? How do you pivot? Let's say it's an outside event and it starts to rain and that was not in the forecast. What are your options? What is the plan B? Again, right? I like to do or have a what if box. This what if box has everything that I need in it. It might have a power box, right? With electrical connections or outlets. If we had an outage, right? Or anything like that. It may have a tent inside there, right? A small tent. It may have umbrellas inside this what if box. Thumbnails and tape, right? Flashlights, as well as emergency lists. It may have a fire extinguisher in a toolkit, so you can have nails or a hammer if you need to put anything up, right? Extension cords, anything that you may. With the what if box, you're anticipating guest needs or you're anticipating challenges that may arise at the event, right? We hope for the best, but things that do happen, and that's why you're the planner. You're getting ahead, right? So like I said, this is where you polish, this is where you get ahead, this is where you fill in all the gaps in any loopholes, right? Then we are going on to phase 6. At phase 6, this is the day of flow management. At this point, you may have already started doing some pre-venue setup. You may have already came in with your team and started setting up the venue a little bit. At this point, you've already met with your team. They know when to arrive. They know all the details. But at this point, the day of, you are leading with precision, right? You're managing the vendors. You're making sure everything's flowing smoothly. Handling any guest matters, any transitions, right? At this point, you may likely, as a planner, may want to hire someone like me who comes in as an event coordinator, day of manager, or even host, right? To help with overseeing the transitions, overseeing any detailed guest matters, overseeing vendors and making sure that they know where to drop off and pick up, their supplies and materials, knowing where to check in at, right? You want to troubleshoot quietly as much as you can. Try to avoid bringing issues back to the client. You want to avoid that at all costs. Handle it with your professionalism, and really, at this point, they've already paid you for your expertise. So use it at this time, unless they really need to be involved. But I try my best not to involve clients the day of, right? And then we have, I like to call this execution with composure. Take a deep breath and pray. I am a planner. I do not like to be stressed out the day of the event, right? Expect throughout the entire planning process, and that's why I've created this system, so it decreases the stress level, right? And being overwhelmed and just everything being busy. But the day of, I believe in waking up early, praying, meditating. I believe in a smooth day of setup. I do not like to be chaotic. I do not like to hustle and bustle, not the day of, because what you project out and how you are showing up for this event, your client feels it, the attendees feel it, right? So stay calm, pray, and know that everything that is supposed to work out is going to work out. I don't stress over the little stuff that may kind of have little hiccups, right? Because oftentimes the attendees and or the client does not even notice when it's a small hiccup, right? But if you make it a big matter, they're going to notice it and it becomes an issue. Final phase where people often miss out on, this is the post-event recap, right? So the post-event recap, this is when you want to wrap up and close out any final billing, any promises that you made, right? You want to send out thank you letters. You want to, for any special guest or host for the event, any attendees, and you want to recap, right? Make sure that you recap with your team, but also recapping any videos or any photo galleries that you promised your staff and your team, right? So have that ready to send to them, or communicating with them that, hey, this is coming, this is on the way, okay? Review the wins, the challenges, the lessons for continuous improvement. It's so important to get with your team. Hey, what went very well? What challenges did we face? Again, when you face challenges, it's a great opportunity for you to apply that information, that insight for the next event that you're planning, right? Again, you want to anticipate not only guest needs, but anticipate issues that may arise with the event, right? So this is a great reflection and retention. You want to finish strong, you want to finish well, right? Because you want to be able to retain attendees' contact information and connections. Client, you want this client to come back to you, right? And so retention is so important, right? And so guys, when you honor each phase, right, instead of rushing to like all the fun parts, right, you move with hoping. You move from hoping everything's going to work out to really being firm in this plan and in this process, right? When you have a plan in place, right? And so this plan allows you to remain adaptable, right? It allows you to be grounded, and it just, God willing, allows you to lead a successful event, right, guys? Now for you, I want you as an event planner, comment below. Like I said, whether you're new, seasoned DIY, or a business organization, comment below which one of these 7 phases do you struggle with the most, right? And what's one thing that you want clarity on when it comes to the 7 steps, right, to the event planning process? Which one do you want clarity on? Okay. Now also, what I would like for you guys to do is to make sure that you share this with another event planner who may need some insight, right? Who may need some guidance and clarity, right? And also stick around. We're going to go through each phase and really break them down into detail. So that should be fun. And we're going to start with phase 1, of course, concept development. All right. And also, guys, your engagement matters, right? So make sure you save this video, like this video, comment. Like I said, comment below. If you're an event planner and you're like, hey, I really like this organization, but I'm not really good at at the creating templates, creating checklists, creating outlines, or being organized. I know how to execute the vision, but oftentimes my events are chaotic, right? And they're overwhelming. You can also directly email us. I'm going to put it in the comment section. And so, or the caption section, where you can directly email us and let us know, hey, I want to book a consultation call with you guys. Because the thing about it is, like I said, I've been in this industry for 10 years. I love to plan and organize. And oftentimes when I started off as an event planner, my biggest thing was I need an event manager to oversee making sure that I'm reaching or meeting the deadlines, right? So to make sure that I have checklists in place, to make sure that each phase is organized. So that was really important to me, and that's why I went from event planner to event operations manager, because organization is my jam. I love it so much, right? And so guys, let's execute with excellence in this event industry together. And let's see if there's anything else that I'm missing on that I want to share with you guys. Let me look at my notes. I think that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I pray that it really does resonate with you and it helps you a little bit more. Like I said, if you're like, this is great, but I need help, email us and we got you, okay?